Hello everybody, Dr. Adana here, and today we're going to talk a little bit about cold immersion, cold therapy, just being cold. So I remember the first time we went to Spacebar and we posted our video getting into the water. A lot of you looked at us like we were nut jobs and you asked us, why on earth would you do this to yourself voluntarily? Well, let me explain. When we went, we did kind of like a fire and ice type thing that they have. So we did not only the cold immersion, but we also did the infrared sauna, which was a phenomenal, like, constrict the muscles, dilate everything, get everything flowing. The cold is hard. I'm not even going to deny that being in that water, it was freezing, right? Of course, I can't remember for the life of me how cold it is, but it's pretty cold. We stayed in there for about 3 minutes. And, you know, once you get in that exact moment, they tell you, it's kind of like jumping into a pool. Like, they tell you, don't like tippy-toe your way in there. Like, you have to go, because if you tippy-toe your way into a cold pool, what do you typically do? You're like, da-da-da-da, I'm gonna go out, right? So you just gotta get in. Like, you gotta commit and you gotta get in. Cold therapy allows for, of course, a ton of anti-inflammatory effects to your system. It's phenomenal for post-workout, especially if you're training, whether you're doing like a marathon or a race or anything like that. It's really, really good for just pushing the gunk out of the system, because when we go into the cold, everything's going to constrict, everything's going to be nice and tight, but when we get out, everything's going to dilate, open, and it's going to push all those toxins out. If you've never done cold therapy, you absolutely should try it, and for the most important reason why. You want to know? So you get tougher. If you walk around life, you're some like fragile baby bird and you have to be coddled and you're all weak. Well, guess what? That's how your health is going to show up too. So do you want to be that fragile baby bird, or do you want to toughen up a little bit? And toughening up physically starts with toughening up mentally, because that whole thing is a mental game, okay? It's a mental game. Like, any of us can physically do something, but as soon as our mind talks us out of it or into it, then we either succeed or we just lost. So when I got into that water, I basically gave myself a mantra of, suck it up, Adana, you delivered a baby. You can sit in this cold water for 3 minutes. So whatever your mantra is, when it comes to doing something that's totally outside of your comfort zone, commit and do it. Especially if it's scary, even more so you should do it, right? So if you've never tried anything like cold therapy and you don't want to like dunk yourself in, that's okay. Maybe do cryo. Cryo, you're standing, you've got certain gloves and shoes that they gave you. During cryo, I remember I was like kind of moving around, like doing circles. They tell you to like kind of keep active. And I believe it's for a less amount of time. But even in cryo, yeah, it was cold, duh. But you know what kept me going was talking. Like, the person was next to me and outside of the chamber, and he was asking me questions, because we did this when we were on we went on a retreat, and he's like, oh, where are you from? What are you guys doing? And all that. As soon as he was like, okay, you have 10 seconds left, I was like, oh my God, it's freezing. Like, my mind went from being distracted to all of a sudden I could feel everything. So remember, you have to take strong steps for your health. You have to have a strong mental attitude for your health, so then you show up and you get to create and manifest that phenomenal version of yourself. If you walk around like you're weak, well, then that's just how things are going to show up for you too. So if you've never done cold immersion, totally check it out. And if you're too scared of either, just like stick your hands in like a bucket of like ice water and let that be your thing, right? Just do something daring, do something different, get uncomfortable, and happy freezing.